Hey guys, welcome back. So in today's video I'm going to be reviewing the story and the engine. Now upon initial watch I did enjoy it very much, however I did struggle to keep up with it. There was a lot of things I didn't quite understand, for example who exactly the barber was or who Abby was either, why that particular barber shop, what the spider really had to do with it, was the spider really necessary. I just left with it with a lot of questions, but thankfully upon my rewatch I did understand it a lot more. Also I will say that I had a really nice surprise which I didn't expect, which I'll get into a bit later, and also what I will say as well is Mrs. Flood's appearance felt quite trivial compared to everything else we've had this season. So apart from that, it was quite an enjoyable episode, and thankfully upon rewatch I understood it a lot more. The story that they released before the episode on the Doctor website was a really nice touch, and I really did enjoy that story as well, and I never expected for them to go into detail about it in the actual episode itself, so it was really great to see that in that. And the ending to the cold opening was very cool as well, but what I will say is having the sort of title sequence start in the window just felt a bit unnecessary. It wasn't like the Devil's Call, for example, where it fitted quite well. That just felt a bit unnecessary, but that's just sort of a nitpick. But apart from that, the beginning to the cold opening, the entire cold opening was very, very cool. I do wonder why they chose 2019 specifically, considering we're so close to that year. Obviously they can't do 2025, but I was just wondering why 2019 specifically. That is just something that plays on my mind. I just wonder why. Also, Belinda talking about the Doctor's hair and the TARDIS doing the Doctor's hair, that's an interesting statement. And what I will say is, it was a great scene between Belinda and the Doctor where they sort of discussed the reasons that they do go to certain places to feel more included and just feel more normal, which is a really touching scene and really great. And I really loved how the Doctor and Belinda bonded over that, and how Belinda said that makes the Doctor the most human thing ever. So that was really sweet. But what I will say is, the Doctor saying, as he put it, this is his first black body, especially with the Fugitive Doctor appearing in this episode, I don't feel that's quite correct. So I feel like that was probably something that was written slightly wrong. It wasn't his, it's one of his first, but it's not his first, especially with the Fugitive Doctor appearing in this episode. So that to me didn't make sense, but the rest of it was really beautifully done. All of the market scenes, especially with the Doctor when he first went through it, felt so authentic and real, and they did so well to recreate that because it just felt so real, and it was so enjoyable to see in the show as well. And I really loved the contrast of where he went to outside Omo's barbershop and it was quite empty and derelict, and then also you had the creepy music playing. I love the contrast to how vibrant and lively the market was, so that was incredibly cool. I love that scene. And also, as someone pointed out that I noticed, it's thank God that the window didn't actually create what the Doctor was saying, because if he said weeping angels and it created that, then surely an image of the angel is an actual angel, so thankfully that never happened. But that's something I saw someone point out and I just wanted to mention as well. And I did also like how the TARDIS was very bright with the lights and the alarms going off, and I loved how the alarm was the same alarm that went off in the 13th Doctor's TARDIS, which is really cool, so I did really love that. And I must say, it's incredibly funny how Belinda talks to the TARDIS as well. That was one of my favourite funny scenes in the episode, because that was just so hilarious how she spoke to it. I just thought that was incredibly funny. It all makes sense now, but it was great to see how the Doctor didn't recognise Abby at first, although he did sort of recognise her, but not why, so I really loved how they'd done that as well. And what was also lovely as well, connecting back to that story that was released before the episode, it was great to see Omo end up with the girl he was with in the story, which I believe is who was in that picture with the blue earrings, so that was really lovely to see. Again, the story helps to elevate the actual episode itself, which was really great and such a great idea that they'd done. Belinda's story was so sad and stuff. I'm really glad that they've done, because we got to see a more in-depth insight into her nursing work and how overworked she is. It just comes to how brilliant of a nurse she actually is, and also how overworked she is and how much of a good person she is too, because she did so well in that scene. Her acting, and Belinda herself also pointed out something which saved the woman's life, so that was so lovely, and I'm really glad they've done that, just to see a bit more of Belinda as a nurse. So I'm really glad they've done that, because it was so brilliant as well. And talking of Belinda, it was great to see her trying to get through the market and her struggling to do so. Again, really great scenes as well, and I'm really glad they showed that. Omo's betrayal was a really sad thing to see, and it sort of elevates it and sort of makes it even worse, considering how the Doctor sees this barbershop as somewhere he can go which is safe, and clearly he wasn't, so that was really upsetting to see, but I am glad that in the end they did make up. But yeah, that was really sad that Omo betrayed the Doctor in that way, and I was quite disappointed in him, especially after the story that I read as well, showing how they sort of come together, so that's really sad, really. Also, what I will say is as well, what I really enjoyed was actually seeing Poppy return from the Space Babies. It was quite random and out of the blue, really. I do like how that was done, and it sort of makes sense because the stories were leaking out. I feel like I hope there's more explained to that, because that does feel, it's great to see, but slightly random as well. So I must admit, I didn't realise it at first either. I just thought it was some random girl. So that was cool how she made a reappearance. But again, odd how that's happened. Is that sort of like a Graham and Maid thing that happened in series 12? Who knows? It feels like that sort of thing. So it's cool, but I would love to know just a bit more about that because it just feels slightly random. A thrilling part to the episode was when the barber revealed himself and who he actually was, which was really cool. However, the images that they showed I felt were AI, and if they were, that's quite disappointing. But to me, they looked a bit AI generated, which I wasn't too pleased with. But apart from that, that was really cool, and it was really funny to see the way the Doctor and Belinda started laughing at him. I'm surprised Belinda caught on as well, but that was really funny how they were laughing at him. Also, as well, I do sort of have still questions even after the rewatch. For example, he was like us, he was mortal, but he became immortal. Why? Why did the gods pick him? Why did he build the Nexus? A lot of questions that I don't quite understand. So I feel like this episode, even upon rewatch as well, you are left with some questions as well. So yeah, quite confusing at times, but again, really enjoyable. And it's upon second rewatch, thankfully, I did understand a lot more. For example, I did actually understand who he was the second time round. Also, I must say as well, I really like the reference back to Lux as well, shown on the window and having the TARDIS in it as well. So that was really cool. Sticking with not knowing what fully was going on, it was great to see who Abby was and finally get the reveal as well. And now it does make sense. I did have to rewatch that scene a couple times just to catch on who they were talking about, because I feel like so many gods were mentioned and so many things were mentioned that it was easy to lose who exactly they were talking about and what this bet was. But after re-watching it a few times, I realised, oh, that was what the Doctor mentioned earlier. So yeah, it can be a bit hard, especially if you need to be completely focused, because I feel like if you miss something small, it can make quite a big difference in this episode. But it was great when you actually understand. It was great to see who Abby was and finally get that reveal, and it all makes sense after that. Now, something small that happened in the episode but was actually quite big was the return of the Fugitive Doctor. Was so unexpected and I was so excited, I couldn't believe it. It's so great to see her carried on beyond the 13th Doctor's era, and to see her appear outside the 13th Doctor's era was incredibly cool as well. I also like how they hinted about how her story might be continued on, where she said hopefully the story will get explained one day, basically, or whatever it was she said specifically. So that was really cool, and I'm really enjoying seeing how she returned as well. I'm so glad that they did, and it was great to see that sort of link back to the Fugitive Doctor's era. You know, you sort of she had problems with Division, she had sort of problems with Swarm and Azure, and now she had problems with this Abby character. So it's great to see this sort of background sort of details as well. So all of that was really cool, and it was so brilliant to see her, even though it was such a small appearance. It was so exciting. Hopefully, I'm hoping that this isn't the only appearance we'll get in this era as well. Hopefully we'll get a lot more. Maybe in the finale, who knows. But again, great to see the Fugitive Doctor back, so unexpected and such an exciting part of the episode. Although there was that confusion, which I feel like a lot of casual viewers wouldn't understand, even at the appearance of the Fugitive Doctor, it was great to see a different spin on the gods. Not actually having a main god, but really someone who helped the god, like a harbinger, which is quite cool. To sort of see them sort of try and become a god and overthrow all of the gods, that was really cool. So seeing that different spin on the gods was very cool, and it was a bit of unexpected to see sort of gods play a part in this episode, really, for me at least anyway. So that was incredibly cool, and I do like the sort of change on the God story as well, so that's really cool. And I really like seeing Belinda try and talk down Abby as well. That was another really great scene which I really enjoyed. So all of that was incredibly cool. It was also quite exciting seeing the Doctor and Belinda sort of trying to fight the Doctor getting into the chair and how they were trying to stop that as well. Another thrilling scene which I quite enjoyed. The story of the slaves and how they braided the pathways into the hair was incredibly clever, and probably my favourite story told in this episode, because that was so clever, and I believe it is a true thing, and I really hope it is, because that is just so incredibly cool. And yeah, that's just brilliant how that was done, and it was a great story, and I loved how it also played a part into the solution of the episode as well. Again, very clever, so all of that was really well done as well. And I must say the design of the heart of this engine as well looked incredibly cool. Again, really nicely done, and it reminded me a bit of the ship of Division as well. I don't know what it was, it just reminded me a bit of that, probably because both of them were such great design. So yeah, that was really well designed. This episode had some nice callbacks, and it was great to see so many Doctors shown in this episode, including hearing 13 talk as well, so that was absolutely brilliant. I really enjoyed that. It was also great to see the spider destroyed, although I don't quite understand why the spider was trying to escape out the barber shop, considering it was going to explode either way, and I don't know what it'd want to be on Earth anyway, so that didn't make sense. But again, cool to see the spider destroyed, and it was quite a cool design, although I do feel like the spider and the sort of web was a tiny bit unnecessary and didn't entirely make sense. But again, really cool to see, because I do love spiders in Doctor Who. It was a nice end to the story where they sort of all made up and they forgave the barber as well, which was really nice. And it was great to see basically everyone live for a change, like the Ninth Doctor mentioned in this episode as well. So it was really great to see, and it was great for them to all be very forgiving. And like I said earlier, it was great to see Omo and the Doctor make up, because that was a really great friendship, and I'm really glad that they did. And it's such a great thing, that barbershop, for them all. So yeah, really cool, and I'm really glad that happened. I don't know why as well, but for a second I really did feel like the barbershop was going to dematerialise. I've got no idea. Maybe it's because the Fugitive Doctor appeared in it for a split second, but I don't know. When he closed the doors, I felt like that was going to happen. Something which is related to the episode, but isn't at the same time. Did anybody else notice how the title sequence started playing, then they slapped the next time trailer in the middle, and then continued with the title sequence after? Surely that was a mistake. I mean, they do play with the title sequence sometimes, but normally that's got a reason behind it. For me, this didn't quite make sense, because the episode ended, then the title started playing, and I was like, oh, okay, where's the next time trailer? Then after a few of the shots of the title sequence, then they showed the trailer, which felt a bit odd to me. I don't know if anybody else noticed that or picked up on that, but for me, that certainly felt odd. And I was like, well, what have they done that for? Talking to the trailer, it was a great next time trailer, but I just don't quite understand why they've sort of slapped that in the middle of the title sequence. It didn't quite make sense. My enjoyment of the episode didn't change around the second rewatch, which was really great. I just understood it a lot more, which again is really good, because at first I didn't quite understand it, but I understood it a lot more the second time round. This episode felt quite different as well. I really loved how it was sort of deeply rooted in Nigerian culture, and how well they done with it as well. I have a Nigerian friend who actually really enjoyed how they done this. I was really looking forward to the episode as well, so it's really great to see that they pulled it off so well, and it was so enjoyable to see in Doctor Who as well, because it felt different to what we've normally had, which is really great. It's always good when Doctor Who does something different and pulls it off really well, which they did do this week, so that was really great to see. My ranking of this, I would probably give it a very strong 7.5 out of 10. I believe I gave Lux a 7.5 out of 10. And I gave The Well a 7. I'm going to keep this one at 7.5. Only because, like Lux, it was a really great episode, but Lux had a lot more twists, whereas I felt this one was more, I'm going to say, enjoyable. I don't know, I need to really go over Lux and this one as well, because I felt like I didn't really want to rank one above the other. So this one was really good. I'm hoping as time goes on this still matures to be a really great episode. I need to sort of go over Lux as well, because I don't feel like I fully appreciated it. So that's why I've sort of ranked them together, only because I don't want to rank one above the other, because I'm not quite sure which one I would prefer over one or the other. So yeah, I'm going to give it a strong 7.5 out of 10, and it could possibly change to an 8 out of 10, depending on how I feel about Lux and whether I feel like this was better than Lux. Because yeah, this episode was really enjoyable. I feel like if it wasn't so hard to understand, then probably I would have ranked it higher. But again, it was really great to see, and there were some really great scenes in this. Mrs. Flood's appearance sort of brought it down a bit, because I felt it was quite trivial. But apart from that, a really enjoyable episode, and yeah, it was a really great episode. But I'd love to know what you guys think. So what did you think of the episode? Did you enjoy it as me? Did you find it hard to sort of understand? Or was it not really an episode for you? I'd love to know, so let me know in the comments below. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully see you in my next video soon. Thank you for watching, and take care.